It is a sunny morning in Michigan this morning. At pressure-free.com. Before we launch into our topic today, which is struggling, now I have an internet instability situation. Hopefully it's clearing up. Before we launch into struggling, something came into my mind this morning, and it's a question I get, like, why is it that the pressure-free method works? So I wanted to answer that question first before we dive into the last of our 5 things that can prime you to go into fight or flight, struggling. Why does the pressure-free method work? First of all, it's completely based on the biology and the science of the fight or flight stress response. So it goes right to the core reason why we experience certain feelings, certain thoughts, why our bodies experience certain things. Some of those things are the side effects of the fight or flight stress hormones. So one of the reasons the pressure-free method is so effective is that we're stopping stress at the source. We're preventing the release of those hormones from the adrenal glands. When you can start to master that, so much starts to change. I had a client just reach out to me the other day and said, the reason that pressure-free is so powerful is it works, in capital letters. It works. And I've been able to help people who've experienced anxiety for years, even decades, start to crack into the code as to why they feel that so much. One of the reasons is that the second flood of stress hormones that goes out later, most people aren't even aware of when they're releasing, can make you feel anxious for no reason. It's just a side effect, a mental side effect of the actual drugs in your brain. They also keep you up at night. So if you have trouble sleeping, if you're not getting a quality sleep, it can be because these hormones are releasing. So that's why this is such a powerful method. It's going right to the source. The stress hormones are the things that keep us locked in chronic physical and mental disease. And when you can break the stress cycle, then your body and your mind can start to operate on a totally different level. Let's get to struggling this morning. So this week I concentrated on 5 things that I have noticed in myself, in my clients, in our family, that if you start to feel these things or act this way, behave this way, it's like you're priming the pump, and it's very easy to trigger fight or flight. And then you're going to be stuck in that stress mess for a long time. So if you can catch yourself starting to feel these and starting to either say it or think it, it's really amazing how you can gain time in your day, just have behavior that is so much more appropriate in situations. I've been very inappropriate in situations in my past. And it's so cool to finally unlock that. So when it comes to struggling, what you'll see is you're doing something, could be working on a project, and then all of a sudden you are stuck. I better push this like this because someone might walk through without much on. So, you'll be working on something, everything will be going great, and then all of a sudden you're stuck, or you hit the wall, or you're just struggling, you're confused and you're frustrated. That is the moment you need to start to catch. If you can notice that, here is my effort going great, and then all of a sudden it's kind of tight. Maybe your brow starts to furrow, you get the tight face, your shoulders are tight. That is the moment to use a pressure-free tool. What you'll find in struggling is that it's sneaky. The main thing that I started to notice for me was the nighttime cleanup. In our old house in Battle Creek, I used to joke with my grandmother that my kitchen's very much like hers. No microwave, no dishwasher, wasn't interested in any of that. We do everything the old-fashioned way. So every night we're doing the dishes. A lot of those nights I'm doing the dishes. And I had eczema. So what I didn't realize was that, I don't have it anymore, by the way, thanks to Pressure Free, that every time I put my hands in water, I'm actually in pain. So I would be experiencing pain while I'm doing that evening cleanup, especially with the soaps getting in there. And so that would start to turn my mood definitely not so good. And I'd usually get about 2/3 of the way through the work, and suddenly I'm just done. I don't want to do it anymore. I would say crazy things in my head. It was just like really bad stuff. And so all of a sudden I'm struggling. I was triggering the stress response almost every single night whenever I did the dishes. And I didn't know it until I mapped this out and untangled and looked at it and said, wow, about 2/3 of the way through, I get really overly frustrated and I trigger the stress response. It was amazing to see what happened next. I started to notice the point, and I put a plan in order. And I encourage you to put a little plan in order for whatever your particular struggles are. I would put music on and start dancing in my kitchen. I'm a really fairly tall woman, so I'd also be kind of in a cramped position. So movement really helped. I just get my body up and get moving and get in a better frame. So that was super helpful. I might put on one of my mentors, like Robert G. Allen. He was my real mentor in real life, but I love listening to his books on tape. So I pop that in. So that was ways I interrupt, but probably the biggest one was this one. Get this. I would ask for help. There's 4 other sets of hands in the house, right? Maybe a couple of them are around. So I started to say, hey, could you do the dishes tonight? In a nice voice, not a tight, cranky, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do the dishes again. Can you, could you do them tonight? That doesn't get much of a good response, by the way. So I'd just be, hey, could you do the dishes tonight? And always somebody would say, sure, I'll do them. So it was no big deal. So I actually asked for help. Now, here's the deal. We all have, especially when it comes to dish doing, we have our way of doing it, and maybe the other person doesn't quite do it the way that we do it. So you might have some judgment around that. And that might be the reason why you want to always do it. So a little secret here is that when you ask for help, do not be judgmental and nitpicky about how they do things. If they put things away where you don't want them, just go ahead and fix it yourself. That still happens to this day for me, because I like things in a certain way. But instead of complaining about it or moaning about it or getting all upset about it, I just simply put things the way I want them. That is huge in how it can, create a better relationship with the people in your home. And also that you're not struggling again with all that judgment and all that tightness. So struggling, there's a wonderful little book by one of my favorite people I used to read. He passed away a few years ago, Stuart Wilde, W-I-L-D-E. It came with a set of tapes I get back in the 90s called Life is Never Meant to Be a Struggle. And he describes that one of the reasons we struggle is because deep inside we want attention. We're not getting attention, or we're not being valued for what we do. So we'll actually struggle so that we're seen. And in today's society, where we feel very unseen and unheard, because people are on these little things all the time and not actually spending time with humans, it can really be an issue. So that's just another thought, is to think, okay, why is there a deeper reason why I'm struggling? When you can uncover some of that and realize that honestly, all I really want is a hug, or I just want to be seen right now, or I just need some connection, someone in my life to talk to, that can be helpful. You can apply this struggle, by the way, to struggle in athletics. Like if you start to hit the wall, I teach people how to do amazing things so that they can actually get over that wall or through it pretty quickly. Work projects, household chores, doing your taxes. It's April 15th when I'm recording this. So doing your taxes might be something you hit the wall against. Anything where you're suddenly experiencing resistance that's just the place to note. If you're experiencing some resistance, a wall, struggle, it's so easy to trigger the stress response. You might even feel your face turn red, or you start to get a little shaky, or then you have no focus because you've triggered the stress response and your brain can't work well on stress hormones. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that you're gaining value from this little series I did this week. You can go back Monday through Friday. 8 a.m. is when I've done these little shows on Facebook Live, and then they get transferred over to LinkedIn and Instagram. And I'm here for you because you shouldn't have to struggle. There's too much struggling and too much suffering today that can really be alleviated so quickly with the pressure-free method. So many things happen because people lose their cool. So many things happen because people don't have emotional resilience. And so many things don't happen because people hit the wall and they give up and the struggle's too much for them. So I'm here to help. It's amazing. Spots are open for the next class 2 of the Pressure-Free Certification Program. Would love to have you join if you're someone who helps others. And private coaching, of course. So give me a little private message and we can connect. Have a great one. Bye.